Hi and welcome to our greenhouse. It's September here in Denmark now and lots are going on, so do come in and have a look. Here in the back we have a bunch of shelves where we have pots that sometimes go into our own garden, but we also do sell at local plant markets and festivals like that. Super exciting. And for example here we have different things growing, perennials that we have taken seeds off. We have like here this really nice liatris. It's a purple perennial, really lovely one. We have one called storm hat or Venus wagon. It's actually a lot of perennials are poison, so this one is quite poisonous. So we have it in the back of the garden, but it is such a lovely beautiful late flowering perennial, so we really like to have it in the garden. So we just really have a very important talk to our kid now. He's 11 about what plants can you touch, what plants can you eat and stuff like that. So do be aware when you plant perennials that are poisonous. We have over here, if we keep in this corner, we have some you're thinking, what is this? We don't only have seeds and growing plants here. We also do a lot of like propagation, like take cuttings. Here's the sedum, super easy to propagate from a cutting. You can put it in water or in dirt like this. And I actually just want to see, I'm quite excited if it has sprouted. I'm just gonna try slowly and take one up. And we have put a lot of them on the edge because then it's easy to take up. I think actually I'm gonna take it all up here. Oh, see, I'm quite excited. I think it has rooted though, because look, I can see it, so I can barely get it out.
You're building up the anticipation.
I know, right? But do look at that. Look at the root system here. And that's just, you can then divide it again.
These are just cuttings that, you stuck in dirt.
That's right. It's super easy to do a cutting. Here it's like, I'm just going to divide it now here. It's going to go in a individual pot anyway, but just look at the root system here. Sedum is really, you can get it in really... Turn the plant like that.
So I can see the roots the other way.
Oh, sorry.
There are the roots.
So you can really see here. Then you have, this is going to become a new individual plant. And I did take the top off and I can see it's already sprouting here. Look at that, a new flower coming. It is a great idea when you do cuttings that you take the top off if it has a flower and the lowest leaves. See, I took a lot of foliage off, so it uses energy on roots instead of like producing a flower. So this is super exciting. That's the work we have to do later. Put these on. I'll just leave them here for now.
Somebody will buy those next year.
Right. And sedum is a really late flowering, so that's really a great one here in Denmark as well. Great in bouquets. We have Montbretia here. And now I bet a lot of people are saying, what is this?
It looks dead.
It looks dead, right? But this is like a really pretty perennial that produces a bulb. That's down here. I just put a lot. It can be in a big group together. And they do turn brown. But I have some up here where then I just take the... If I can just show here which one is pretty. See, then I just took trimmed the top here. And look at the nice green foliage. And then, you can put them out again in the garden. Or use them. I'm using them for those.
And this mother plant was one, it was just a bigger one that we had in the garden. We dug it up, divided it, and you can see how many more plants we're going to get.
There's like 30 new pots here, so it's really easy. Take a shovel or spade, even use your hands, whatever you have. Don't be afraid of hurting perennials. They are super tough. And they actually do like to be divided often because if they kind of, over the years, they grow into this huge amount of area, maybe killing other smaller perennials. So just, divide them and then you quickly have new plants. And it is good for the main plant that gets some air around it. It will be really healthier and stronger that way. Over here we have some Verbena. Over here, also super easy to grow. It's actually in Denmark because when you have hard frost, you can see them here, they do get a purple flower, really tall, really strong. They don't fall in the wind. It is actually a summer flower like annual, but because the the frost is not really, it's not a strong winter we have in Denmark, so they do survive, but you can easily just take a top here and do a cutting and will sprout within, in a greenhouse here, within 6 days. I almost want to bet on 6 days. So they are really nice. We have, let me see over here actually.
And we've started sowing seeds.
Sowing here. The Hollyhocks.
And you'll notice that this is just a plastic meat tray. I don't know how you get your meat in your country, but here it comes in these plastic trays, and that's just what we do them in instead of using individual like seed pots. And
it's so easy. It's a great shape. Always we always have to remember to put drainage holes in, and then we just sow them. These have been flowering this year, and then we already taken seeds. A lot of times I get questions about when do I sow these, and you can actually sow them all year round. I sow them also in autumn because a lot of perennials, they take time to flower. A lot of them flower the second year. So these hollyhocks will go out over to the fence we have over there. Black will be a great contrast because they are tall, and the bees really love them, and it's really like a cottage style. We do love them. So we have them in, we have like always a name on, otherwise it's really hard to remember the name, and the color. So we have like 4 different colors. But a lot of times when you grow seeds, like a perennial from seeds, the great thing is about nature, you can't always be promised the same color like the mother plant. If you do like a cutting like we do here, it will be a true copy of the mother plant. But seeds, they cross-pollinate, so the bees, they will maybe create a new totally two-colored, like even if you see this here, I noticed today, we have hollyhocks, like it has like a 2-colored leaf. But I think that's just amazing. Then you get a new color created. We have Achilles, we have different Achilles here. We have Verbena down here, also a few left here. We have Pallet Leaf, which really, I'll get one here, if I can reach it, over here.
That's a pretty one.
Yeah, that's one you like to write, the foliage. And it's like that's really used for cooking in a lot of countries. It's really like citrusy smell. Not for everybody's taste, but it really grows like low to our border. We have, if we go to, oh, look at our cola plant here. Look at that one here, how it grows.
That one's doing well.
Yeah, it looks that it's coming in. That was like the mother plant. We trimmed that all the way back because we had it too close to the border. Sometimes we learned from our mistakes, so I just planted it way too close to the border. So it didn't really work there. So we did a bunch of new, so all these are cuttings, gonna sprout very soon, and then I'm gonna repot them. And they really have a nice
this is an herb that smells, just like
that's a nice one.
A soda. Lots of seeds going on over here.
Maybe I'll show them that.
Let me come on this side. Yes. That sun is intense.
We have, for example, here a bunch of, it looks like almost,
like a moss.
But this is digitalis, and that's a plant that lives two years, so it's great to do it in autumn, sow them, and then actually have to repot them, one plant in each pot. So it takes a lot of time, but it's really a fun process. And we do put the seeds in here. For example, digitalis, they just need to be drizzled on top and then kept wet. Yes, thank you. And then you just keep it wet, and then they will grow. And when they kind of get a little bit bigger, like maybe in about a month's time, around October, I'm going to repot them when they are ready. Because this is seed sowing soil, so they get a good beginning, a good start. Because if you use like really fertilized soil, you're going to burn up the leaves, and they don't like that strong nutrition in the beginning. So slow growing, and so we have a bunch of things here. And this is also actually a poisonous plant, but really lovely cottage style, and it will flower the second year. That's why we do I get a lot of questions in the garden, like why do you sow now? But when you sow now in autumn, it's really a great time for the plants. They get really established out in the garden, and then it's ready for flowering next year. Also, echinacea will flower first the second year. So a lot of times you have to be really patient. You want to, maybe, we love echinacea, but it does take some time. So we will sow them knowing that it will be 2 years before it flowers. So we do have a lot of different things growing. Jakobstige, the stairways to heaven, it's also called, you will later on. Once it has, like, this is the first set of leaves. Then here in around in September, we will, when it has the second set of leaves, so around in 3 weeks time, we will repot them each in one, and then it will really have a nice foliage. It'll be, looks like small stairs up to heaven later on, and we will repot them. So they are really nice too. And monada as well. Also, we have a bunch of things. And we grow them in these really, because then we have a great process over how to sow. You can also just throw seeds out in the garden, but I never know what is weeds and what is
exactly
a new perennial, a new seed. So this is a great way to control the new seedlings growing.
Exactly, even if you're not doing it to sell at local markets.
Yeah, even
most everything in our garden comes from a cutting or from a seed, and that's why we have this crazy mix of plants out there.
Another ones we propagated just by like a cutting is these hydrangeas. We get a lot of questions often, like, how do you do with the, and you can either put it, I put some in the greenhouse, keep it just wet, and they do look like really sad, but they will, I promise you, they will start to root very soon. And we put them just on the edge here on the side, and then it's easy to get out so you don't disturb the roots too much later on when it's rooted.
That's right. If you stick them too close together in the middle, then when you start to pull them out, it's going to be one massive clump of roots.
Yeah.
So putting them on the edge is a good idea. And those are just cuttings.
Yeah.
We have a short actually about that. The same thing with the butterfly bush.
We have some here actually, yeah.
And these are doing really well. These are just cuttings too.
We stocked them in the ground in April, which is really quick. They started to having already flower buds, which is really nice. Also one here. So they are really easy to propagate as well. Just put a stick, take that if there's a tub, and remove the most of the leaves, and just stick them either in pots or out in your garden somewhere shady, out of full sun, and just keep it wet, and then they will root really quickly.
Exactly.
And over here on this shelf, actually, we have some native to Denmark. We have, it's called Perennial, has flowers really early. And this one actually been out in the garden, a big cluster of just this, and then I just divided with a small shovel I had, and then there you go, you have a bunch of new ones. I placed it close to the border because it flowers really early in the spring. And what is really amazing with this one, it has really sticky stems, and it developed that because ants really want to go up and eat off the flower. So it said, no way, you're not gonna do that. So they made themselves like sticky so ants won't go up and eat any of the flower. I think that's really nature's way to protect itself. Is really amazing.
Speaking of ants in Denmark, did you know there are no ants in this country that bite or sting or whatever? I grew up in Georgia, as I keep saying, and we have fire ants, and we have these things that'll just ruin a picnic and bite you, sting you. And here, no. Yeah. You can let ants crawl all over you. When our son was little, how old was he, 4? We found him outside in the garden, just ants covering him, and I'm ready to get the water hose and save his life. Nope, the ants are just, it's like a Disney movie. Everything's so kind. So anyway, yeah.
And here we have, it's about to be finished, but another one we repotted is also native to Denmark. Gets these cute little, really fun.
It has a terrible name. In Danish, it's called a bladder plant.
Yeah,
so
blæresmelle.
They look a little bit like bladders,
but
it's really pretty. And when it dies back, you can see that it keeps that shape. Yeah. So we still have some out in the garden, and that's nice. So you still get some of that architectural interest.
It's really a nice one, yeah.
Lavender cuttings as well. These are just, cuttings of the lavender stuck in some dirt.
And we have some over here. I don't know if you can see it. It will turn more reddish, but Japanese bloodgrass.
Oh, that's a real pretty one.
Out in the sun will be really nice. And you can see over here, it has roots like they you know, propagate themselves like underground. New, how would you call that?
Yeah, so it's growing new ones from its own root system already.
So these are really amazing. So do make aware when you have, like, check on perennials, like, are they really aggressive? Do they spread themselves through the seeds or maybe underground roots? Yeah, so you really need to be aware, is this a plant, do I have a lot of space for it? But then again, like even this over here, the Rollige, oh, it has really already gone in the ground. It's great to have, if you have a greenhouse, we don't have so much space, we have a very small garden, but it's great, it can touch like dirt underneath, because then the roots here can grow out once they get bigger. Here's the Rollige, which is also really native to Denmark, really nice, but also kind of aggressive. People say it's a big weed. We have it everywhere on meadows. When you drive, you see them everywhere, but insects really love these as well, and they really start spreading in the pot as well. So do be aware, okay, if you have this, be sure that you can have it in the garden, you have space for it, but you can easily remove it with a spade or just pull it up. But it's really, we also do like to have a lot of flowers that attract a lot of pollinators, because it's really important to have insects like bees and butterflies in the garden. That's some of the plants we have here as well.
And our grapes are doing well. I know I show them all the time. Almost ready to pick. They're really, really sweet right now. Getting sweeter in the sun. So that'll be nice.
Actually, we have another one. I'm just gonna back out here. We have another one I propagate by using cuttings. It's a really famous wallflower. Just looks like withered sticks, but they do start to sprout. They've just been kept wet in the greenhouse here. It's pretty hot, so I'll show you out here. We also have, autumn is also really a great time of year to divide perennials you have out in the garden and getting a lot of new free plants. We have this really lovely, see here, we have this really nice Hydrangeas, has been in a pot, but it didn't really look great there, so we actually just, super easy to, you can either use this, I normally just use my hands in a plant like this, and you just slowly put it apart here, and then boom, you have new plants. And then they will get small babies. And because autumn is really nice because everything is wet, the roots are nice, it's not dry. And the great thing here is then you can put them out in a different, like get maybe more of this kind in a different area of the garden, and you don't have to go and water it all the time. So that's really nice. That's what we also spent, you know, September is also a busy time for us in the garden. We love, if you didn't know by now, but we love doing cuttings. So here's like a phlox. We picked the top, it's finished flowering. This has one flower there, beautiful purple. So we actually just also gonna start pulling all the leaves off like that. And the top we just gotta nip it or take a scissor and then even take a little bit more leaves off. And then you just stick it in some soil and it will start to sprout.
And I think the one of the takeaways is, I mean, we don't always use snips and we don't always use a fancy shovel, just some hands, rip the roots apart. I mean, it's a flower. You know, it's not really rocket science. So if you're brave enough and daring enough, and worst case it dies, and
but you also learn through your, you know, what you do in the garden, even mistakes you learn from that. Oh, maybe I learned that, okay, I shouldn't leave the finished flowering on because then it'll produce a lot of energy on just keeping that. Yeah. So just nip off, and then you learn, oh, I shouldn't put it straight sun. Okay, how wet should I keep it out of direct sun, because otherwise it just gets really dry in these smaller pots. Yeah. Some people just put it directly in the garden out in a shady area, then nature just will water it when it's time. So there's a different methods on how you do the cuttings. When we show them the shed where we do the seeds.
Let's do it.
The very hidden spot. So this is our shed here where we do a lot of things. For example, we dry perennials or annuals here before we shake off all the seeds and then put them in coffee filters.
That's the painted sage, by the way.
That's right. Dusk Selvi in Danish, really pretty. So that's just laying there having some fun. Then we have some spring bulbs that we took out from some pots in the spring. It's different kinds that's been drying here. Also, it's time to put them away in a box. So we do have a lot of things going on. We have seeds that we collected here. Like really, I got a lot of comments of people in the garden. The Cosmos apricot. So we've been drying seeds here. So when they all dry, I pop them in this coffee filter with a name on and leave them for the spring. So we have a lot of things going on here. The plan is that and here's another Anissiope that was white. We shake all this. So inside is like hundreds of new seeds. So this is the way how we get. Mostly we just get seeds. We barely buy seeds, but we collect seeds of over 100 perennials or annuals we have it. It's a great way to save money.
And also when we go to a neighbor's house or a friend's house and we like a plant, I mean, some of our friends on Instagram, we've already written, and as soon as their flowers go to seed, we're there. It's super easy. It's a great way to just, and be a part of the whole process. That's actually why we started Sowing Seeds, was to be a part of the whole process and not just enjoy the finished product.
Yeah. And we also have, like, for example, here the white oxeye. Now these seeds has been laying. It's time to, like, I just rub them like this, and then you have a bunch of, here's like 100. I put them in seed sowing soil, keep it wet with it. We always use these sprayers, pump a few times, then you don't have to do it after every push, but then it really sprays it nicely so you don't overwater seeds. Yeah. But the plan is here, we do want to do a makeover of this room, do some painting, give the floor a little, it has been before we moved in.
Yeah, you want to, let's be honest.
I want to, yes. Because I do think it's really nice. We spend a lot of time out here. So we want to do a big makeover of floors. We've been here for 5 years, and I feel it's overdue to do something to this room. The garden has gotten a turn in the whole house.
I guess it's time.
So a good cleanup, and then a bit some more organizing. We have some better, little system here for all the seeds, because we have them all here, and so they can really be stored here nicely and dry. So this is where we store all the seeds, and then in spring we're gonna start sowing. The boys really love when I put trays of seeds in the heated porch we have out here, around 20 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
but that's our favorite time of year, when all of the seeds that need little warmer temperatures get to come inside. Yeah. So yay, we'll be sure to.
But also
make sure you know that's happening.
But also, just talking quickly about the greenhouse, we do sow seeds both inside, but also we do autumn-sown now here in September because the temperatures are lower. But also in January, some of the seeds we have, like Echinacea and Liatris, they do need changing temperatures. Like Liatris need at least 4 weeks of cooler temperatures, and then when it gets warmer, the nature all does that out in the greenhouse. Then it will start to sprout, and we repot them. So it's a great way to use this out here, and also, of course, the greenhouse.
Yeah, and our greenhouse isn't heated. So that's how we can do that sort of winter sowing up.
Nice and old greenhouse, but it's working. So, thank you so much for to seeing this video about where we are with our greenhouse, and we'll keep you posted on what's happening in the greenhouse. So thank you very much.